Good? All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Committee of the Whole. So Commissioners, today, as we start our meeting, we have a presentation from the Rapid. But just to give you a rundown, we have a number of items, 6 items on the agenda, and then at the end of COW, I'll be asking for a motion to go into executive session. So we have an executive session related to pending litigation. So that's a rundown of our morning, and then we have legislative committee at 12:30 today. And then our commission night out tonight. So with that, we will get started. And the first on our agenda is a brief presentation on ITP services. So we'll invite the representative from the Rapid to come join us and give us an update. So commissioners, as you likely know, typically annually we have a number of updates from organizations throughout our community. And the Rapid typically does an annual update to the full commission.
So while he's pulling up my presentation, I will say thank you for having me here this morning. I'm Jennifer Kalchuk. I'm the External Relations Manager for the Rapid. I'm very pleased to be here and let you know a few of the things that we're doing. This is going to be a year in review because we are coming up to the end of our fiscal year. And then happy to answer any questions that you have. I want to start with, we have launched a new educational campaign called More to the Ride. And it's focusing on the stories of real riders. These are people that use our services, that rely on our services, that appreciate our services in the community. And it's been a way to tell the story in a more human way, to understand that the bus is more about getting from A to B. It's about how we are in our community and how people benefit from it. So I want to just do that real quick.
I want Joel to have every opportunity that the other folks in this household has. And so I like that he feels accomplished at the end of his workday and that we can have something more to discuss than what was on Price is Right. This weekend I wasn't feeling well. He gave me a kiss on the forehead and he walked to the bus stop and took the bus to church on his own. I'm glad that he's able to do those things without the feeling of a babysitter or the need to have us that close.
Joel is one of our top tier workers. He's very capable, he's always willing to help out, and he's always going. He's got a great work ethic. He's not dependent on someone to get him somewhere. He can use his own strength, his own proficiency to arrive and go to work. It's that next step of being independent again, that he gets to sit on the bus next to other people going to their jobs, just like everybody else. The Rapid allows our guys to achieve a level of independence that would not be open to them otherwise.
He's a pleasant surprise and a source of happiness for me. To see him happy and to see him thrive is joy for me.
So that's one of a number of videos, and we will be continuing to produce them so that we can share the stories of, and again, make that direct person connection, that human connection to transit service that I think people sometimes don't always intuitively get. A big part of Joel's story is access to his job and being able to feel independent by having that job. Work-related trips are one of the key things that we are always looking at as we are doing our planning and development. We do a ridership survey every 2 years, and consistently the number one reason that people are on a bus is to go to work. Last year, 74% said that they use the bus at least sometimes to get to work. And so that's a very key thing for our riders, but also for our community. For employers in our community, for families in our community, to be able to have that good access to work. A couple of recent examples of how we've been working to improve that are the Route 28 Street extension and the Route 19 realignment to service Oak Industrial Drive. At one time, we did have service to Oak Industrial Drive, but when the economy was not as strong and there were not the level of jobs out there, we ended up removing that service because there really wasn't the demand. We had a number of employers come to us and say, hey, can we get service back because we need people? So we wanted to work with them to do that. And this is just to give you an idea of some of the employers, the larger employment centers on those routes that we're able to service now because we were able to put those services into place. While we want to get people to work, we want them to enjoy the ride while they get there. So we have done a number of things to improve the customer experience while people are on the bus. We undertook a major bus stop accessibility project to make bus stops accessible particularly for people with mobility challenges. That is helped by our partnerships with MDOT and local advocates to be able to connect with sidewalks. We've been looking at how we use technology to enhance the experience, adding ticket vending machines, which are in all of our Silverline stations, but also at the Rapid Central Station platform and in the building at Rapid Central Station. So you have, whenever the building is open or the platform is open, you have access to purchase tickets even if there's not someone available in the information center. We have real-time information signage in a number of locations, and the Silverline buses have Wi-Fi on them. We have developed, in partnership with our Avail system, which is our real-time information system, a number of tools for particularly new riders to feel more comfortable. You can plan your trip. You can find out exactly when your bus is coming. You can get notifications. We do have an automatic voice response system. So again, when our information center is closed, there's still a good way for people to access information. Even without having web access, you can use the IVR system. We are working on implementing a smart card project, which will make for faster boarding, give people more options for purchasing their tickets, and allow mobile payment, those types of things. So these are some examples of cards in use in other systems that you may be familiar with. That will be late 2017 when we'll have the full rollout of that. The smart card portion will be first, followed by mobile ticketing. And we are, I was just talking to Josh earlier about looking at potentially some ways that we could integrate some of the parking apps and the transit apps into one package. So that's still in the talking stage, but it is a way that we're continuing to look at how we can use technology to enhance everyone's experience. We do currently have information at all of the stops that show the times, the schedule, and ways to text to get updates and real-time bus information texted right to you. But we will also be adding some additional enhancements, including route flags. So it'll be very easy if you are driving down the street to see, oh, that's where the 11 goes. To help people make that connection to the system and to understand how it works so that it will be easier to understand how to move around and make the connections that you need to make and get where you need to go. We do also have a focus on environmental stewardship. The biggest thing that we're doing there currently, as you may know, a number of our buildings are LEED certified, including the Operations Center that was just renovated in 2012. So now that the buildings are where they should be, we are looking at how we make our vehicles more environmentally friendly. We are retrofitting our smaller Go Bus. The Go Bus is the service for seniors and people with disabilities that cannot ride the regular fixed route, transitioning those over to a propane fueling system. And we will start transitioning our fleet to compressed natural gas or CNG buses. CNG is consistently cheaper than diesel fuel, so we will be seeing some operational savings from putting those buses into place as well as some emission savings. The first group will be here in early 2017. We'll be getting a bus in the next couple of months, primarily for testing and training, but you'll start seeing them on the street in probably the spring. And here's the location where we will be building a CNG fueling station, because we'll need to have that much capacity to do it ourselves. And there's the potential that we could have retail sales at that location as well. So as we're looking at how we plan our services and how we deliver our services, there are a couple of things that guide our work. The Transit Master Plan was adopted in 2010. That set a 20-year vision for transit. It was based on extensive public outreach. We held lots of meetings. We did some really interesting things online in order, some new things at the time to get feedback and get participation. Looking at the ridership patterns over the years and what they're projected to be, and working with our many partners, including the cities and other stakeholders, in how that plan should be shaped. We have a short-range plan that will be going to the board later this month that will more specifically talk about what we would like to do over the next 5 years. In terms of service planning and delivery, here's the graph of our ridership over time. It goes through 2015 because we are still in our 16 fiscal year, so we don't have year-end ridership numbers yet. You can see there's a consistent period of growth. Things have leveled off a little bit, gone down a little bit. That is not inconsistent with other transit systems around the country, just transit ridership overall, and we're doing better than a number of our peers in terms of where we are with ridership. To talk specifically about the Silver Line, because that is a question that I get often, what we're tracking with that is how much the ridership in the corridor itself has changed. So before the Silver Line, just Route 1 existed, and you can see the graph there. When we look at Route 1 and the Silver Line combined to look at trips in the corridor, you can see that there is a significant amount of growth. This tells us that we are attracting new riders with the Silver Line. It's not just the Route 1 riders that have transitioned over to a different type of service. It is attracting new people because the corridor ridership overall is growing. And there is still a strong ridership on Route 1, even with the Silver Line operating. So there's just some more particular facts about the weekday and Saturday and Sunday ridership. The next BRT line that we're looking at is the Laker line. I'm sure that you are aware of that project, but to give you an update of where we are and how this will play out, we're looking at spring, summer of 2018 for an implementation. The project was included in the President's budget, recommended for funding. It was one of the highest recommended projects on the Federal Transit Administration's list, so we were excited about that. But as you know, the federal budget is not done, so we're waiting to see the outcome of that. Generally, at that level, projects don't change a whole lot. So, but until it's one of those things that until it's done and we're officially awarded the grant, we will be waiting for the final number. As with the Route 50, Grand Valley will continue to provide the local